everybody. Can you let me know if you can hear me okay? We'll just wait a few minutes for people to come in. I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out too. I'm not real great with the live streaming technology. Alright, well, it looks like I'm live, so that's good. There's one thing down, right? Okay, yes, you can hear me. Hi, Susan, how are you? Infinite screens, yeah, I know. Sorry. Here, is that better? At least it's something to look at. What's going on? Thanks for being here. Get cozy, get a drink. I got a seltzer. So, while people are coming in. Hi, Anita. I sound distant again. All right. Excuse the infinite screens while I figure that out. Here's my microphone, right? Let's see. Filter. Let's crank it up again. Whoa. Is that better? Is that? Hey, Aunt. Long time no talk. Is that better with the sound? I always forget there's a delay. Also, I've had a day with my dogs, and they're in the room with me, and they can be kind of loud, so I apologize in advance. There's a sock in the background. Can you see that? One of my dogs likes to carry around socks, so they're all over the place. They're all over the backyard. When the snow melted, there was just socks everywhere. So, not a lot better. I don't know why. This was giving me a problem last time, and I fixed it, but I guess not. It's kind of like hard to test when you're not live, so I apologize that it's not like ready to go. I hate to crank it that loud. Is that better? I'm sure it's a little better anyway. I'm good, Aunt. How's work? How's things? How's life? Have you been streaming? I haven't caught any of your streams. Oh my god, your dog likes tissues. I have a puppy. She is obsessed with toilet paper. She will barge the door down. She comes in. If she sees the toilet paper, she gets this wild look in her eyes, and she tries to just rip it out of my hands. And if it's, I used to keep it on the roll, right? But I can't now because she'll just go in and take it. And she'll drag it all the way around the house. So I have to take it off the little roll thing and keep it high up so she can't get it. All right, I think we're gonna get started. Keka says you've been loving, is that it? Keka? Yeah, Keka. You've been loving the stuff, especially the series on Gate. I have vague memories, yeah. In Australia, but no one mentions it. That's interesting. We are interviewing a guy from Brazil who has a really interesting story. So I do think, and we talked to the guy in England too. I don't know if you heard that on Gate Unlocked, the podcast. We talked about that. It does happen all over the world, but so far we've confirmed Brazil and a guy in the UK. Hi, GK. Thank you for being here. It's another one of my Discord mods. Yeah, it's not my webcam. I muted it. I can't figure out why. If you see something Grimm's Kitty, please let me know. You can see my mic here. It is picking it up. And my Sony is muted. And yeah, I don't know. I can try turning it up more, but I don't want to waste like too much time on here. Let me see if I can. Oh, sorry for this. Is that better? I don't know. It's I muted my Sony, see, down here. Can I delete it? I'm scared. If I delete this, is it going to delete my camera? Yeah, it did. Shit. Let me just add this back and then we'll get started. Okay. Full-time content creating now. Yeah, I am, which is why I've been not available by text, and it's not just you, it's like my entire life is taken up. So it's been a lot. So yeah, I don't know, GK, we'll have to figure it out later, but all right, let's get started. So I wanted to read stuff on Mysterious Universe, but apparently you need a subscription. So we're back on Reddit, but we're going to do some other interesting stories. So we have this first one. It's a video. Looks like, what is this strange rainbow captured in the sky? I see this actually all the time. What is it called? It's a fire rainbow, right? Is that what they call it? Cloud iridescence. I see it all the time near my house. A lot more recently. I think I saw it once in like the early 2010s. This is the first time I saw it, but now I see it. There was a few weeks straight that it was in the sky. But yeah, not quite as vibrant, people are saying. Oh, here's a good one. All right. Receipt from the night my boyfriend and I met appears outside our bedroom window 2 years later. Okay. For context, we met 2 years ago at a bar. We were old high school acquaintances, and he bought drinks. We ended up going back to my place, and we now live at his place, which he didn't live at the time we met. The morning when we woke up and came out of the bedroom, same time, I noticed a piece of paper on the floor. It had not been there the night before, as I was the last to bed and definitely would have seen it and picked it up. I see there's a receipt from our local bar. I'm confused because these are drinks that we would have not ordered recently. And I looked at the date and it was the night we met. I had no idea how this receipt got here because we met 2 years ago and he'd gone straight to my house that night. He didn't even live at the house we live at now during that time. I also remember he was wearing what he was wearing that night, and he's worn those clothes so many times since that night, so it's not like it just fell out of the pocket. How did it just appear? And after 2 years. So weird and cool. Wanted to share and hear thoughts or theories. Oh, and they framed it. That's so sweet. I actually went to elementary school with my fiance, and I have diary entries from like second grade, and I want to frame them so bad. I haven't yet, but I want to. Give me 5 green tea shots and I'll solve this immediately. What did they even order? 4 Long Island iced teas. Holy shit. A Coors Light, a green, 5 green teas, and a noon pineapple. That's funny. I bet he just saved it. It doesn't say that she asked him, right? I bet she just saved it. Sorry, he saved it and she ended up finding it. All right, let's see. I have issues with memory, so from childhood, lots of stuff has been blocked out, so you think things might be worth looking into. Yeah, absolutely. Gate was all over the world. I'm just reading the comments. Sorry for like changing subjects here. But yeah, with Gate, which I'm sure many of you found me through the Gate conspiracy rabbit hole, it is all over the world. So yeah, you can definitely check into it. I don't know if you have something like FOIA requests, but you can look into it. Or if you have like a Department of Education, they'd have more information. Have you ever seen a triple rainbow? No, I have not. I don't even know if I've seen a double rainbow all the way. What do you guys think of this story though? Is my chat even working? It like glitched out last time. Let's see. Here's a crazy one. Yeah, I have to like refresh to get the chat. But anyway, so here's another one. Where did it come from? Finding a house in the middle of the ocean. Here in New England, there's a lot of houses for sale that are on the edge of the ocean, and they are going to just fall into the ocean one day, unfortunately. So I bet you that's what happened here. It always amazes me because so many people spend so much money on those houses, and it's like, imagine having that much money that you can buy a house and it's not even an investment for you because it's going to be gone in 10 years with erosion and everything. So that's probably what happened here. But imagine seeing that. That is like nightmare fuel. Oh, this is creepy. Photos taken on my phone during sleep. What is this? Looks like a stomach. But it's like from above. That's creepy as fuck, huh? Why do they have why do they have all these lamps? That is an ugly lamp. You think that's that lamp from the story from last week? It just doesn't look right. Last night, 4:32 a.m., 2 pictures were taken on my phone with the flash and the really dark one. The first picture is after I messed with contrast and exposure, the darker picture. What's weird to me is the flash is not automatically on. Night mode has to be turned off. Interesting. It appears I may have taken it. It's about a foot above me. Maybe I did with completely outstretched arm. I've never been known to sleepwalk or anything. And nothing like this. I'm having trouble reading tonight. I've never been known to sleepwalk or anything, and nothing like this ever either. That's not me. It's just written weirdly. And all the hoops I would have had to go through, picking my phone up, getting into my camera, turning off night mode, zooming, and that would have had to happen in my sleep. I'm not sure if there's anything necessarily supernatural, but I'm weirded out. Time to set up a video camera and record what's going on. Have you guys seen, I'm not on Reddit a whole lot, but there was a story of the person who thought that somebody was leaving them notes, and it ended up that they had like a CO2 leak, and, carbon monoxide leak, and they didn't remember it. And people were like, oh, if something weird is happening in your house and you don't remember it, you should probably get an alarm. And they did, and that's what it was. They had memory loss because of that. But that is freaky. I don't know. I've always wanted to try one of those apps where you can, like, listen to yourself sleep, but I'm so scared I'll hear something creepy and it'll freak me out. But what do you guys think of this one? Did they take it themselves? This reminds me of, what the fuck are their names? Chris Kremer, was that her name? The 2 girls that got lost in the Amazon because they were there teaching or something. I think they were there teaching English. And they went out for a hike and they walked down this trail that was supposed to be an out and back, and they continued into the rainforest where the trail ended, even though there were signs and stuff, and they went missing. And then they found their camera, and they ended up finding like their bodies too, but they found their cameras, and it was like just flashes because that's the only light they had at night, so it's like really creepy. Yeah, why are they so high up? I don't know. Sleep paralysis, yeah. Carbon monoxide, yeah. Sleep paralysis, no thank you. If you guys have been listening to me for a long time, I'm sure you know my story about sleep paralysis and Hat Man and all that shit. Not a good time. No, don't like that. But sleepwalking freaks me out too. I knew a guy who used to sleep eat. So, imagine that. Hi Plasma, thanks for being here. I wonder if this person ever solved it. I don't really want to scroll through this whole thing and bore you half to death, but... Alright, help me make sense of this. Ready? Let's start it over. What's happening? Did you catch it? What did I miss? What? Is it his shadow? What am I missing? Maybe I need the sound. I'm afraid to turn the sound on. I don't know how. Oh, something fell as he walked by. Can someone explain these lines in my eclipse photo? Ooh, somebody caught it in motion. Let's see. Let's watch that. Oh, it doesn't look like they've solved it. CERN. Oh, there it is again. Huh. I wonder what that is. What is that, a UFO? My dogs are fighting. Can you hear them? Offerings on my front door. No, thank you. Recently moved to Madrid. The front door opens to a quiet courtyard. I work during nights since October 30th, 4 nights in a row, approximately at the same time between 3 or 4 a.m. An open, half-empty bottle of water appeared on the doorstep. You got a witch. With a cigarette lying next to it. Isn't there a, I'm gonna butcher it, but isn't there a, like a voodoo demon that kind of looks like Catman, and you're supposed to leave him cigarettes and booze and stuff? Isn't that a thing? The first time it was half smoked and either extinguished on the doorstep or knocked over by the wind, and then everything was just like it in the photo above. So some person is calmly bringing bottles and cigarettes to the doorstep at a very strange time, ignoring the light because I'm working inside. When I set up a camera, the gift stopped. What makes you think it's a gift? Like, maybe somebody's just hanging out and, like, I don't know. This reminds me of a time, so one of my best friends in high school married a girl who lived in Vermont, and she was super into hiking. So we hiked up some, like, mini little mountain thing and camped overnight. And we woke up in the middle of the night, and somebody was outside of our tent, like, all night, walking around. We could hear him, and it was pitch black, and we were really scared. And when we woke up the next morning, there was nothing disturbed or anything, but there was 2 zucchinis just left, like, leaned up against a tree. It was so bizarre. I don't know what was up with that. They definitely weren't there before we went to bed. So it was very, very odd. When I set up the camera, the gift stopped, but I wouldn't have made this post if the gift started appearing again now at Christmas. Yeah, so did they not see who it was? Does the camera not work? Huh. I want to know some of your guys' creepy stories. Tell me. I think my chat is, like, delayed, so sorry I'm not responding. Here we go. Yeah, oh, my dogs. Yeah, you can hear them arguing. Yeah, they're very loud. I'm sorry. I wanted to keep them out, but then they'll bark and cry, so they're better just in here with me, and I'm sure you can see them, like, running around. There's a giant carrot, so hopefully I'll get to see my tiny puppy carry that giant carrot that's like 5 times the size of her. Also, she ate my phone today. My dog did. Look, can you see this? I was gonna put it on silent, but I can't. So there's that. I had to order a new phone. She ate the case and my phone. So it no longer works. So just another thing I have to do. So, it could be a local alcoholic. Yeah, that's what I think. Booze and cigarettes are given to many. Yeah, and occultism. Tobacco is a sacred plant and booze is like my many spirits. Yeah. The Lake City Quiet Pills. I did. I used to listen to Thinking Sideways. Keka asked if I'd heard of the Lake City Quiet Pills. I don't remember what it is. It's an internet mystery, right? I do remember that. Thinking Sideways covered it. I loved that show. I wish they didn't go away. All right, we'll do a couple more on here, and then we'll switch over to paranormal, because honestly, these are kind of boring. All right, what did I catch on my ring cam? Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. I think it's probably dust or bugs, though. Maybe not. My cameras catch a lot of crazy shit. I should show you guys sometimes. Sometime, rather. Whatever it is, it looks cool. Somebody said a fleet of tiny ships from another dimension. Due to a miscalculation, the entire fleet was swallowed by a small dog. Dust. Yeah, something like kicked on and the air started moving. All right, let's go over here. And let's see, we'll do, can I do best of all time? Ooh, unknown entity from Indiana State Sanitarium. Photo from a friend. Where? Where's the entity? Show me it. Where is it? I don't see it yet. Oh, okay. That one's freaky. That actually scared me more than I expected. Look, here he is right here. It just looks like a person, though. Imagine catching that. Imagine being at a creepy-ass place like this and seeing that on your camera later. Nope. No thank you. I wonder what it says. Let's read the comments. Many stories from all kinds of visitors throughout the years who claim to have seen a very tall man lurking around. I've seen someone say she thought he was part of the group at one point because he kind of followed them room to room. Another story of quick glances and this super tall man out of the corner of the eye. Seems like you were lucky enough to get an actual photo of him. Jesus, no thank you. Look at that. Look at his fingers. That's like a Slender Man tentacle fingers, huh? He's smiling though, at least. Maybe he's friendly. Oh, hi Bones. How are you? By the way, check out Bones' channel. He's been researching dicyanin dye, and you got some cool videos, right? So let me know where you bought those glasses. I was looking at your videos and I had a great idea. I was like, what if I bought them and tested them and made a video on it? Would you guys like that? Oh yeah, good catch, Bones. It probably is in reverse. Probably just dust, yeah. Oh, thank you, Grimm's Kitty. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button, thank you. Slenderman is linked to, I don't know how to say that, Euronymous? Alright. Yeah, that was a creepy one. I'd like ones with pictures so I don't have to read freaking walls of text, because I'm not doing that. No offense to these posts, but okay. Huge bubble floating in room. Oh. You know what sucks though is like you can just look at this and be like, okay, so you blew a bubble and took a picture, but like imagine seeing this and having no fucking clue. Like just imagine if it was real, right? That it's like not even a normal bubble. It's got this like weird like ring around it. That's weird. Let's see what it says. I woke up at 2 a.m. and saw this huge bubble floating in my room. It floated along the ceiling until it reached the window and then it was gone. My best friend passed away last year. Aww. And at first was with me all the time, but recently I haven't felt his presence. Has anyone seen such a thing? What is that? Oh, I got chills. Aww. Okay. This is one of the most interesting posts I've seen on here. You mentioned you woke up and saw it. Can you give a play-by-play from the time you opened your eyes until the few moments after it left? Try to remember the way you felt as well as what you saw, heard, and smelled. I was having a dream about my best friend's brother having a baby and naming it after him. I awoke with a startle thinking I forgot to turn off the TV. As soon as I opened my eyes, this big bubble was sort of hovering in the air close to the ceiling. And then it started gliding right to the... Then it started gliding to the right sort of slowly toward the window. And then when it got to the curtains, it vanished like it went through the curtains or window. I felt shocked but not scared. It was quick. It was a clear bubble, and my gut felt like water would burst out of it. So it was watery and clear looking. Oh wow, let us know when your best friend's brother announces the pregnancy. It sounds like the baby came to visit. Wow, that's a crazy one. What do you think of that? I've never heard of that, though, seeing something as a bubble. That's cool. Okay. Let's see what this is. It looks interesting. No, I guess it's not. Let's see what it says. I still take care of the... Oh, it says, I was my grandfather's caregiver, and he passed away last month. I still take care of the house, and last night I heard tons of movement downstairs, and then I heard something fall. I check it out, and it was one of the wreaths hanging up. I snapped a picture, and a blue orb is sitting right next to it. Where? Where's the orb? This? That's a light, right? Where's the orb? Help. Where's the orb? This? This. Oh, right here. Okay. I don't know. What do you guys think about orbs? I don't necessarily believe in them one way or another. Like, I feel like there's so many things that can happen with cameras and dust and lighting and all that stuff. I don't know, but I know some people like hardcore believe in orbs. There's all sorts of orbs in my house when I take pictures, but it's also dusty as fuck, so there's that. After my grandfather passed away, I was cleaning out his house. I was the only one in the home at that time. I was sitting on the couch when I heard an album book filled with pictures flew off the stand it was lying on and landed on the floor. The album book was open to a picture of my grandfather and his mom. I like to think he was trying to tell me he was back with his mom. After that, the house turned dark. I recall one night I was woken up to stomping in the basement and steps and pounding on the basement door. Another night I ended up leaving my wallet at the house, and when I went back, it felt like the house was watching me. I never felt that type of heaviness or sense of dread. I quickly grabbed my wallet, got out. I never knew why the house changed after death. When he was alive, it was always a place I wanted to be, but after his death, it felt evil. Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot, and there is a theory about poltergeist activity following severe grief. So sometimes I wonder if that's like what some of that feeling is, because it's like energy that gets discharged out of your body basically, and it affects the environment. Hi Joel, thanks for being here. How long have you been a member, Joel? It doesn't show me, it just shows a color. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate you. I'm reading the chat. Okay. Oh, I thought you... Keka said, what would an orb be? And I thought it said, what would an orb do? For some reason. I thought that was funny. Like, what would Jesus do? What would an orb do? Okay. Ooh, that's freaky. What do you think these are? Should we take guesses? Oh! Well, okay. That's some sort of tongue. Okay. What is that? I'm curious. I'm interested. This looks like some sort of like eel or something. Some kind of like snake or something on the side. It looks like scales. What is that? I don't even know. Oh, there's bones in the water. Bones in the water. Bones in the water. All right. I'm just a normal guy living in the PNW. I have 2 dogs, and I often hike around in the spring or summer. There is a particular hike that I like to do with my dogs because the trail is along a river, and they love to swim. It's one of those trails that no one really knows about. I was hiking it for 6 years, never seen another person out there. One of my dogs is reactive, blah, 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 blah. Started hiking around 2 miles. I came across a tree that someone had used red rope and large nails to tie up what I think is a cow's tongue and nail it to the tree. The tongue itself was tied tightly or bound with rope. Then they used big nails to nail it to a tree. There were 2 of them on one tree. Next to the tree in the river, there were large, again assuming cow bones, scattered. The dogs started to act different. They seemed uneasy. I look around a bit to see if anyone was out there or if someone who was maybe houseless found a camp there, but there was nothing. No signs of anyone camping. My dogs kept tucking their tails and would not stop and look out as if something was near, but they couldn't see anything. Decided to turn back. Blah, 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 blah. Rocky, blah, 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 blah. Tried to look up what this could be online, and All I could find was witchcraft or satanic spells. In short, it seems like some sort of ritual to keep the spirits or people quiet. I'm not sure if this story fits exactly here in the sub, but I'm so curious if anyone knows more about this. Whoever did this, they're making sure that the tongues stay in place. Horse, cow, goat. Hi, Ninja. Thanks for being here. That's a spell to bind a person's goo against you. Sounds like a shut up message. Yeah. Oh, I should do this. I've been thinking about that. Just being like, I'm weird anyway, but being like very publicly weird, you know? Like, maybe I should like don a cape and start like doing weird shit so people leave me alone. What do you think? I think I should do that. I was thinking about like pretending to be a witch and like doing really freaky weird shit. Oh, it sounds like they disappeared. When I went back, I couldn't find it. Couldn't find the tongues, couldn't find the tree. Interesting. Don't touch it yet. This is a binding of someone's tongue to stop speech. The use of red suggests a protective approach. That's what I was thinking too. So likely to prevent speech that will cause harm. Just put them in the freezer, right? These are also usually specifically targeted, so simply touching it is not likely to have consequences, but don't test it. Oops. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Something in this photo. These are good ones. What is that? What are we talking about? What's in the photo? A ball? Someone downstairs. Alright, so there's a photo of this person in a house with a ball. And then it says, shrimp, chicken, and fruit, ? Please keep it down. I'm sleeping and I'm not feeling well. He says, sure, Mama, except I'm on the highway. What do you hear? She says, someone's downstairs. He says, stop playing. Why do you think that? Did you lock the doors? Your TV and your guitar, are you here? He says, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm driving back from E-Town. She said, I don't hear it anymore. Please hurry up and get home. We heard someone upstairs on the 3rd floor. Let's see. I lived in a house that I later found out someone had passed in. Isn't that fun when they're supposed to disclose it and they don't? Yeah. While living there, many terrifying things happened. Magnets and papers falling off refrigerator, washer starting by itself on spin cycle, strange letters, numbers on my arms out of nowhere and disappearing, and knocks on my bedroom door with nobody on the other side. In the photos of my arm, I was wearing a long sleeve and out of nowhere felt burning under my clothing. One night I heard my son playing his guitar and asked him to stop, only for him to text me back saying he wasn't even home. Here are a few photos. What are we supposed to be looking at? Like, is she the ghost? It doesn't appear that she, like, what are we supposed to be looking at here? I don't see shit. But that's freaky. Yeah, I lived in a haunted house when I was a kid, and I still currently live in a different haunted house, but the one I lived in when I was a kid was really weird. My bedroom was right next to the bathroom, so at night I'd wake up and the faucet in the bathroom would be on full blast. But here, nothing like that happens. Like I said last time, I'll hear like random knocking and whispering, and things disappear a lot. But other than that, I don't really like. Nothing bad happens. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood to knock on. But yeah, it's never anything bad. It's always like I said, orbs. There's like weird lights sometimes. My cameras pick up weird shit, and there's like sometimes a mist. But it's never like a bad vibe. I see the child overlapping the kitchen island, but turn the image sideways and you'll see it's an optical illusion. It's a Coincidental alignment of objects. I don't get it. What am I missing? The person who died in the home was an elderly woman. Oh my gosh, my friend was telling me a story about how she knew somebody that passed away, and in an apartment, and in like a really brutal way. And she years later was driving by the apartment, and her friend was living there. So she texted her friend and was like, "Do you happen to live in this house?" And she said, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, did you know that like somebody passed away there?" And she was like, "Oh my God, is her name this?" And she said that her daughter had been talking to a woman that she couldn't see, and it was the same name of the woman. Ugh, freaky. Anyway, I don't know what's going on with that freaking picture, but all right, let's see. Do it, Danny. Not enough capes in the world. Yeah. I should go to all my son's sporting events, like with a cape and a hood and everything. The head knock, yeah. Well, I don't have any wood, so this is, well, I actually am surrounded by wood in this room, but I can't reach it fast enough for my what's it called? Suspicions. What is that called? You know what I'm trying to say. I can't words when I'm put on the spot sometimes. All right, what else we got? Caught on camera 30 minutes ago. Oh, it was removed. Lame. I want pictures, please. I don't want like whole walls of text. Can we do this? Not safe for work content? Are we allowed to do that on YouTube? I can always delete it later. There's nothing there. You know, I wanted something good. Where am I in Reddit? Unexplained. Are we still in Unexplained? Let's click on Unexplained. Okay. Oh, this is cool. Strange coins found in my friend's attic. They do look cool, I guess. I mean, for a penny and a dime and a thing, another 2 pence. All right, let's see what this says. Okay, this might be a long explanation, but I have ADHD, so whatever, you'll be fine. Little do they know we're reading this on a live stream, and I don't want to read all this. Anyways, my friends and I live in the great state of Maine, and they bought a house in Bangor. The listing said 1900, but it's possible that it's older. The ground and second floors are totally finished, but the third floor has 4 rooms, and they're all unfinished. Walls need to be patched, new floorboards, blah, 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 blah. In the room we were all obsessed with was one that is completely empty, aside from an old piano. See picture 3. This one. That's important to note because we all love spooky stuff and spent a good amount of time in that room, especially over the past few months, inspecting as much of it as we could to see if there are any spooky clues or something. That's where the coins come in, because the past weekend, 6 months after they moved in, we were showing a friend the piano room, and smack dab in the middle of the room was an Irish 2-pence coin, which I don't believe they make anymore. You couldn't have missed it, right there in the middle of the room, unobstructed by anything. Neither of them are Irish, so no one knows where it came from. It was just there. We found 2 more coins, a dime and a penny, one on the threshold of that same room and one in a different room. If it means anything, the first picture shows what side of each coin was facing up when we found them. The penny and the dime both heads up, and the 2-pence harp was harp side up, if that's what it's called anyway. What do you folks think? I'm happy to answer any questions. We have no knowledge of anyone dying in the house or on the property. The couple they bought the house from, who had lived there since the 80s, said that the piano came with the house and that they never moved it because it's too heavy. I've heard coins being left in strange places before, but an Irish 2-pence that's out of print showing up randomly is throwing me for a loop. Yeah, I was going to say when it first popped up that maybe they found the coins inside the piano. When I was a kid, my dad bought me a piano, and when we had to, when the guy came to tune it, he was pulling out like all sorts of old coins and stuff. It was really neat. So I thought maybe it came from inside the piano, and maybe it did, because like, is this piano like sideways? Why is it like that? So maybe something fell out of it, but still finding it just in the middle of the floor is pretty weird. Superstition, thank you. What is wrong with my brain? That is the word I was looking for. um, yeah, interesting. Sounds like they were under the flooring and the flooring was moved or disturbed. The flooring has not been touched. Yeah. Cool. That's cool. I wouldn't say unexplained. I mean, I guess technically it is unexplained to them. What's in the sky? That's, is that Starlink? I see so much Starlink stuff in the sky near me. Something burning up in the atmosphere. There's this, Reddit thing. It's always SpaceX. Space debris. We've heard that before, right? This one's cool. There's a weird head. Imagine. See, this is the type of shit I'm gonna do to scare people. I'm just gonna collect weird objects and like put them on stakes in my front yard. And maybe people will leave me alone. I think that's a great idea. And I'll do it while wearing a cape. Could anyone explain this random head I found while driving in the Badger Army ammunition plant? And I ended up where these old buildings used to be, and there was a random head. But it's not a head, it's a mask, right? There was also a house back more in the woods behind the head. It seemed like someone was in it because there was smoke, so I'm guessing maybe a fire, but someone had yelled, but I didn't hear what they said. Yeah, it's probably like an omen, like, go away. And they like slow down to look. I couldn't hear if they were yelling at me, so I drove away. This was the only photo I got. Maybe someone could explain why there would be a random fake head on a stick out here. I mean, people don't really come out here because there's a jet engine testing place on the property, but I thought maybe someone had put it there to scare people off. I don't know. The head of Zohan. It looks like a mask, though. It's not like a head. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a mask. No? Yeah, look it down here. It's definitely a mask. I like his hair. Target practice. Oh, I saw this the other day on a different thread. And everybody was like, it's drugs, it's meth. But I actually think it's like a drying substance that they put in the bottom bags at dispensaries. Because he says he bought it from a vape shop, and it was at the bottom. This is the second time shopping there. But I think it's like a drying gel. Okay, this sounds interesting. Oh, it's so long. All right. We were on holiday in the Greek island of Rhodes. One day we went to the beach. The beach was mostly made of pebbles rather than sand, so I bought a pair of brightly colored water shoes with me. They were flexible. My son and I walked into the sea together. There was quite a bit of wind that day, creating noticeable waves and a strong surge in the water. At one point, I suddenly felt that one of my water shoes had slipped off my foot. A moment later, I saw it floating at the surface. I managed to grab it and hand it to my son. He started throwing it across the water, trying to make it slide over the surface like you would when skipping a stone. Immediately after one of those throws, the shoe disappeared between the waves. Because of the rough water, it sank almost immediately. I searched around the spot where it went under, but I couldn't find it. Eventually, I walked back out of the sea, slightly annoyed, with only one shoe left on my foot. With only one shoe left on my foot, as opposed to multiple shoes on your foot. Because the wind was blowing toward the shore and the waves were rolling, and the three of us walked along the waterline for a while, hoping that the shoe might wash up somewhere along the beach. Unfortunately, we never found it, and you probably never will. I've lost many things in the ocean like that, and it sucks. I lost my Fitbit. My son's boogie board strap was like wrapped around my wrist, and it ripped off my Fitbit in the ocean, and it gone. Never gonna find it again, ever. Somebody will find it someday, maybe, but in another country on the other side of the world. Anyway, the next day we returned to the same beach. The weather was sunny, but there was a lot of wind and wave activity. My partner decided to go swimming roughly around the same area where I had lost the shoe the day before. Meanwhile, my son and I went to a Greek restaurant located a bit further from the beach, but still parallel to the same stretch of sea. We got a table at the first floor on an open balcony. From there, we had a clear view of the beach, and I could see my partner swimming. While waiting for our food, I occasionally looked out on the water. At one point, something happened to me that still feels strange. One particular moment, something happened that still feels strange. 3 meters behind my partner, I suddenly saw my lost water shoe shoot up out of the sea. It didn't just slowly float to the surface, it actually burst upward with force, rising roughly a meter above the water before falling back and starting to drift on the surface. I immediately stood up and started waving from the balcony to get my partner's attention. At first, she didn't understand what I was trying to signal, but after a few gestures of pointing to the water, she finally turned around, and there it was, the shoe. She swam over to it, picked it up, and brought it back to the beach. What's always fascinated me about this moment is that despite the wind, the waves, and the constant movement of the sea, the shoe somehow stayed in roughly the same area for 24 hours, and at the exact moment I happened to be looking toward the water, it shot up to the surface again. It was a small and simple event, but the timing and coincidence have always made me feel strangely remarkable. That is a synchronicity, my friend. Yeah, it is cool, and it is very, very, I was going to say unnerving when that happens, but it's not. It is remarkable, and it is like, really makes you wonder. I have 2 stories about this. One I've already forgotten, and the other, for some reason, this story reminded me, last summer, I had a dream that I was swimming, and I saw a seal in the water with me, like poke up its head. And the next day, I was at the beach swimming with my sister, and a seal poked its head out of the water, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It was so weird. And of course, nobody believes you because you're like, "I dreamt this exact moment," and it's like, "Oh, sure you did," but no, I really did. It was very bizarre. All my years swimming in the beaches around here, I've never seen a seal. But lately, I think the population has come back. But anyway, the other story I was going to tell, which was beach related. Have you guys seen the Netflix special, The Girl from Plainville? That's local to me. If you don't know it, it's about this girl who was texting her boyfriend when he was attempting harm of himself, and she convinced him to get back in the car and like finish it, which he did, and she was charged. That family is local to me, and the father owned a fishing, I think it was a fishing boat, and before the son passed, one day the son was like leaning over the side of the boat, and his hard hat fell in the water, and it had a certain sticker on it. So after he passed, somebody found the helmet in Portugal, and they posted it to Facebook. They found it on Father's Day and posted it to Facebook on Father's Day, and the kid's father, when he was scrolling through Facebook, saw it. So I'm getting chills. It's such a crazy story, and that doesn't really get talked about. I mean, it was reported around here in the newspaper and stuff, but can you imagine? Like, it went all the way across the Atlantic, and somebody found it on Father's Day. Yeah, that's crazy. The sea had a good mood, and it usually never gives back anything it took. That's correct. Yeah. Alright, sorry, I was reading the chat. I don't want to miss anything from you guys. Here's a cute little blob. Okay, this is interesting. I need a drink though, my mouth is dry. Okay, symbolism, or could it be a sign? Or am I overthinking? Please don't tell me that, haha. I won't tell you that. I keep randomly getting the super tiny letter A on my skin. It's like a small sticker. There was one on my arm over a month ago. I edited the photo, which is not here. I don't see the photo. I edited the photo so you can see more clearly, but it's just a bit bigger than a grain of sand. Haha. This was just one today. Recently, I had my palm read a couple days ago. Ooh. Someone said something to me about the letter A, and it really caught my attention today. Excuse me. I should not drink seltzer live. It's like so burpy. Someone said that to me about the letter A, and it really caught my attention because of that. Any explanation? I have no idea where it came from. I don't have these stickers. The last time I saw it on my skin, I flushed it down the toilet. It's been at least 3 or 4 times. I added the photo in a separate post. Well, like, where am I supposed to see it? Okay, well, thanks. Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. No, it's not even here. Like, I clicked on her other post, but I don't know. Symbology is what you make it, right? I wonder if she ever figured that out. Oh, I saw this earlier. There's just a random wet spot in their bed. Well, if you have perimenopause, you know what that is. It's just sweat. Sweat forever, all day, every day. All right. Okay. What's your creepiest glitch in the Matrix or unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you? I want to hear yours, by the way, guys. Tell me your glitches so I can read them. Okay. I remember being pretty young, 9 or 10, and I was in the car park of a pub in England. I remember seeing someone in their teens in the window of a house looking over the car park. They waved at me, and I felt like I knew them somehow. My parents asked me who I was waving to, and I said some lady in the window over there. I didn't think much of it. Fast forward 10 years. I was at my nan's new house. I remember walking into her room, which I was never allowed to do, going to the window, and then I realized I was in the house looking over that same parking lot and remembering that interaction from years before. And then a girl around 9 or 10 who was in said car park waved at me, and I waved back. I felt like I knew her. I could not explain it, and I've never told anybody about it. It freaked me out. Ooh, that's cool. You accidentally found a wormhole. That reminds me of a book that I read. My mom used to like go to all sorts of library sales and come home with just stacks of books for me. And there was this one book that she got me that I still have because I love it so much. It's like a young adult mystery. It's called Mr. Was, and it's about this kid who goes back in time to try to prevent his mother's death. So like you don't know that he goes back in time. So the whole lead up, his mom is talking to somebody that he can't see. And she keeps like talking about him like, oh, this weird dude like is here again, and he can't see him because it was him in the future who went back to the past. Such a good book. I love that book. I wonder what this is about though. Like, did she see herself, or did she see like a version of something happening in the future? Okay, when I was a teenager, my family lived in a big 15-year-old brick house. Plenty of creepy stuff happened, but one night I was heading to bed when the door between the first floor kitchen and the basement stairs absolutely slammed shut. It had a unique sound that I recognized immediately as the kitchen basement door. There were no windows open that could have caused a draft. Our dog was asleep on the second floor. I was on the second floor. My parents were both asleep in the third floor attic. It had been converted into a master bedroom. None of us could have shut the door. I worked up the courage to go investigate, carrying my hilariously teeny pocket knife for protection. As I went downstairs, I turned on every light. When I reached the kitchen, the door was wide open. Even more freaked out, I ran back up to bed, leaving the lights on. A minute or two later, I heard a definite shh, okay, from downstairs. I laid in bed and I was ready to accept my demise. Eventually, I somehow fell asleep, and in the morning, I was there first downstairs. I woke up before my parents and dog and found that the lights were all off and the basement door had been shut again. Oh, somebody said, damn, it sounds like you almost got robbed. What if it's that exploding head thing? I hate to be the skeptical one and be like, oh, you're probably sleeping, but that used to happen all the time. It happens to my dad too. It happens to me every once in a while. It's when you're falling asleep and you hear a huge crash or bang. And sometimes it's like that weird hypnagogic state where you don't really realize that you're half asleep. But when you're in that state, like you'll hear something and it will like disturb you awake again. And I think it's called exploding head. But it's just a weird phenomena that happens. I wonder why that happens. But yeah, my dad used to get up and like search the house because it would sound like a bowling ball like crash through a wall, and there's nothing. How we doing in the chat over here? You've had the doors quietly shut in your apartment. Interesting. Okay, here's another one. Weird but happy. About 5 years ago in November, we lost our family dog to cancer. She was the dog my children grew up with, loved by all. At the next Christmas, at the end of the day of gifts, food, and family, as I was picking up, I found a tiny pewter dog figurine sitting on the mantle. I asked everyone who had been in the house that day if they left it. No one had. I took it as a good omen. When my eldest went back to college at the end of that Christmas break, he asked if he could take the little figurine to remember his dog. Of course, I said yes. A week or two later, picking up around the house, there was the figurine again. I called my son and I said, "You forgot the dog figurine." And he said, "No, I didn't. It's right in front of me on my desk." Oh. I now found a second figurine. Again, no one claimed any knowledge of it, no idea how, but I still have the two of them tucked away on a shelf to this day. Oh, that is so sweet. That's interesting. I think you guys have probably heard me tell this story about my grandmother's locket. I have a locket that was my grandmother's, and my grandfather engraved the back of it, and when my grandmother passed, I got the locket. And then one day my mom asked if she could have it, and I was like, of course, and I gave it to her. And then years later, I found it on my necklace tree again. It just came back to me. I never got it, never asked for it back. She never gave it back to me. It was just there again. Okay. Okay. I'm getting your glitch stories in the chat, but it's hard to read because I don't know where your stories start. So sorry about that. I have to like scroll back and like search through. Another mystery solved. We are on fire. Oh, Rat Race is such a great movie. I love that movie. Okay. About a year ago, me and my cousin visited Los Angeles. We were driving around using Google Maps, and after missing our third or fourth exit, we swear we both heard it sigh loudly before it rerouted us. We freaked out and made sure our driving was on point the rest of the ride. The rest of the trip, there. If we missed any of our exits or turns, we always apologized to Google, so hopefully she would know we were just morons, not assholes. Okay, here's another one. I removed a painting from a wall during a late evening cleaning, put it away, and returned to the wall to see never before... Wait, what the fuck? Removed a painting from the wall during a late evening cleaning, put it away, and returned to the wall to see a never before seen painting in the same spot. Put a chill down my spine. That's freaky. I would bug the fuck out. That did happen to me though. I had a coffee mug, well, like a coffee tumbler thing, and I remember buying it because it was on clearance because it was brown, so it was ugly as fuck, and I have that specific memory of buying it because it was cheap, and I knew it was cheap because it was ugly, and I bought it, and I went to use it recently, and it's black now. Like, the brown one's gone, I have this new black one. It's the same exact, like, tumbler, because it's, like, kind of, like, a certain shape, and it's the same one, and it's weird. I don't get how that happens. Okay. I used to have a recurring dream as a teenager every night for months. I was sitting at a table on the patio of a restaurant. I was out there alone waiting for my food. A homeless man comes up to the other side of the patio and asks for change. I'm digging in my wallet for a couple dollars, and Then I hear tires screech and look up to see a crash at an intersection near the restaurant. I ran out to see if I can help, and as I run out into the road, I get hit by a car and wake up at the impact. After a while, the dream stopped, and I put it out of my mind. Fast forward to me being 28 and sitting on the border on the patio waiting for my food. A homeless guy comes walking past the restaurant but doesn't stop and ask for change. It makes me think about the dream, though, and I start feeling uneasy. Shortly after, I hear the tires screech and I see a wreck happen in the intersection at the restaurant. I begin to run out there, but stop at the sidewalk and look toward oncoming traffic. And there is an SUV not slowing down. She was on her phone and blew through the intersection, completely unaware of what just happened. I ran out and checked on the people. Everyone was fine. Homeless guy was an angel in disguise, asking for change. Get it? You changed it. Damn, that's crazy. I'm sorry, Grim. I want to read yours, but I don't know where it starts. Oh, you're just talking about Mandela effect, right? Alright, so Grim says, Rowan Atkinson died. He died during the filming of the movie Rat Race. I remember it being in the news. I remember it being a big deal because they weren't sure they were going to finish the movie. The movie ended up getting more funding, and they completed it with CGI. It came out in 2006, I think. Rowan Atkinson dropped off the scene for years. He wasn't in anything. He wasn't on TV, and then all of a sudden, one day, he was back. Wow. I was living in the mountains at the time, in a national park. I remember where I was when I read the newsletter and linked to the page talking about Rowan Atkinson's death. Wow. Hi, Mulligan. All the way from Kansas City. Ninja says, I used to get that exploding head thing as a kid. I would hear constant noise, yeah, like an out-of-balance ceiling fan or a leaky faucet, and it would increase in volume to deafening levels and then back down. Do you live near the hum? That is like one of my biggest fears. Every time I say that, it's a different biggest fear. But yeah, can you imagine being tormented by like constant humming and nobody knows what it is? When I was on my road trip through the Yukon in 2013, one night around 11 p.m., the iPod glitched out and restarted itself because it was plugged in. The date was now February 1st, 1969. Oh, thank you, podcast fan. They said that this is your first tune in to the channel. Nice show. I've watched a few videos. Thank you. Yeah, I'll get better at live streaming as it goes on. I was super nervous, but after the first time, it seemed much easier, especially because you guys are all so nice, and I'm familiar with most of you in the chat. I'm glad you like the gate program, but I do try to do these streams because like I'm more than the gate program, guys. Kidding, kind of. Okay, we'll do a few more, okay? This happened around 1991. It's in the middle of the night, and I'm standing in my sister's living room, and it must be a full moon, because even though it's around 1 a.m. and the lights are off, I can see clearly. There's a mixing bowl with popcorn kernels on the bottom on the floor in front of the TV, and some rental VHS is in a pile nearby. I hear noise and turn around to see my sister's normal, very friendly Labrador Retriever looking like Cujo. Fangs bared, snarling, hackles raised. Suddenly there's a bright flash of light and I wake up like I hit the bed from a great height. I think that was a weird dream. Eventually I fall back to sleep in the morning and I call my sister planning to tell her the story, but she preempts me by telling me the weird thing that happened in the night. They woke up to the sound of the dog snarling at 1 a.m. Her husband thought there was a prowler in the house, got a gun, and went to find the dog. She was standing in the living room, snarling at the middle of the room. He couldn't see anyone, so he flipped on the light. No one was there. The dog stopped snarling and walked to her bed like nothing happened. He checked the property and went back to bed. We talked a bit and found out that they watched some rental movies, and of course we had popcorn. Why? My sister is a little woo-woo at times, so I decided to not tell her about my night. Why? You should have. She lived about 450 miles away. Somebody said, "Are you trying to tell me you accidentally astral projected?" Even more, the dog knew I was there. Yeah, so like, the beginning of this story is a little confusing because she's like, "Oh, it happened and it was in the middle of the night and I was standing in the living room." So I guess, yeah, she astral projected. She should have told her sister if she was into that. Oh, thank you, Bonsef. Sorry, I missed your chat before. Yes, thank you for the super chat. The Museum of Tarot is where you want to get Dyson goggles. Thanks for the shout out of my videos. Yeah. Thanks for the shout out for my videos, shorts, and posts. I get the exploding head syndrome. It's like when they travel into the Spider-Verse or the Matrix. Yeah, so tell me about the Museum of Tarot. I think I've used them for research, question mark. They upload a lot of interesting old interviews that I use for the gate research over on Internet Archive. There is a guy who sells the glasses on eBay, and I think I told you guys in that video, he so smart, devious as fuck, but smart. He trademarked the word Dicyanin, so nobody else can use that, I guess, which is so weird, because isn't that like the name of the chemical? Like, how can you do that? It's like trademarking water, right? Like, that's what it is. How can you make that a name? But anyway, that's what he did. And I don't think they're real, but I'd like to try them anyway, the ones from eBay. And the guy who owns them, actually messaged me on TikTok and was like, "Hey, I'm the guy that owns the Dicyanin dye company, the glasses potentially scam company on eBay." Am I allowed to say that? I did say potentially. That's my opinion. Okay, I don't know if he actually is scammy, so don't sue me, please. But anyway, I'd like to try him, and I don't know if that was really him, because when I looked at his profile, there was like nothing. So I really do want to try them. We go to flea markets a lot, and we went to one recently, and there was a blue pair of glasses, and we were like asking the guy. He like took them out of the glass case for us, and we looked through them. But he said they were motorcycle glasses, and he wanted like $75 for them, and they were like mangled anyway. So yeah, we passed on them because they were green too. They weren't fully blue. So reading the chat. Oh, hi Carolyn. Thanks for being here. Check out Carolyn's show. She is absolutely wonderful to me. We find books for each other and send them because synchronicity, right? When you want something, it just shows up. I probably told you guys that story already, but Carolyn collects a certain type of book in a series, and I happened to see one of her TikTok videos responding to somebody about manifestation, and I found the book she was looking for the day after her and I had an interview. So of course I had to mail it off to her in Canada. So if you are interested in Helene Hadsel, she's your girl. So go check out Words for Winning. She's amazing. Yeah, Joel, check them out. I think they're relatively cheap. I think they're like under $30. And you're colorblind. Interesting, yeah. All right. I'll do a couple more. Podcast fan says, at a job site, a Google property, I heard a lot of V2K and voices seem to issue from the aircon vents, only there too in the early AM hours. Havana syndrome. Yeah. Do you have amalgam fillings? Like Lucille Ball? Is that what it is? It gives you anxiety waking up from those dreams. They feel very real. They do. And it's like so many times during those weird hypnagogic states where Hatman was like there, or having sleep paralysis, like you couldn't convince me that I was sleeping. Looking back, maybe I was, but at the time I was like, no, I was definitely awake. So I don't know. It's one of those weird brain trickery things. Okay, we'll read a few more. 3 years ago, my childhood dog died very suddenly and unexpectedly. She was sick, but turned it around and got better before dying very quickly. I live out of state, so I wasn't able to be there for any of it. It's a 6-hour drive, and I felt very guilty about her passing without me there. I had a very deep connection to her, and she'd been my best friend for 12 years. I was devastated by her death. I couldn't work or eat or do much of anything. I was constantly bursting into tears. It was just awful. My heart ached, and I found myself apologizing to her for not being there. I just felt so guilty. One night, I had a dream about her. I dreamt I was in this empty space, and Charlie, who I assume is the dog, came running up to me, whimpering excitedly. She was licking my face and generally just freaking out, and I was sobbing. I knew she was dead, and I knew she was visiting me in my dream. I was very aware of it all. I kept hugging her and crying and apologizing, and she just kept licking my face, being affectionate. I woke up with tears streaming down my face, sat up in bed. I could still smell her smell. Oh my god, this one's so sad. Oh, and the dog's fur was on her bed. It may have been a coincidence, but it was so vivid and real. I like to think she was visiting me and letting me know not to worry. I haven't had a dream like that since. So sad. Bonesif, I've had sleep paralysis demons without ever closing my eyes, so you were not mistaken. Yeah, right? Like, I'm almost positive I was awake. Grim says, I used to have a pair of high contrast cycling glasses. They were yellow. Yeah. A lot of the psychic dreams could be artificial in origin via radionics microwave tech. I've been hearing a lot about that, about how bad it is to sleep with your phone next to you. But unfortunately I have to, because my brain like never ever stops, and I have to like focus on something to fall asleep. Is that normal? I don't think that's normal. Okay. Not my story, but my grandpa's. He served in the Navy and hadn't come home for 5 years. He finally got to go home. On his way, he saw his old friend, let's call him Wally. Wally was getting on his normal bus, and my grandpa shouted hi to him, but Wally didn't respond. He didn't think much of it, seeing how Wally didn't have the best hearing. Wally got on his bus and looked at my grandpa in the eye as the bus drove away. Later, after he got home and was talking to his dad, he asked him how Wally was doing, and his dad told him about how he saw him earlier. He told his dad about how he saw him earlier. His dad was silent for a minute and asked if he was sure he saw Wally. My grandpa said yes, and he replied Wally died 6 months ago. Ooh, spooky. I need a drink. Okay. Did we read this one? This one sounds familiar. I died, I saw it, I lived it. Either it was another world with a version of me that died, that I saw, or I'm going crazy, but I died. We had a pep rally in school, and after it was finished, we had to go back to class. Excuse me again. Well, my friend and I were not into it, so we wanted to cross the street to Sonic. Across the school. Why are people writing like this? It makes me look like an idiot when I'm trying to read it. Across the school, there is not heavy traffic, but if you don't pay attention, you could get hit. Well, I remember walking with him, and he dropped something, so I went across the street first. I saw a red Tahoe heading right for me, and I got hit. I remember everything. I remember gasping for air. I remember waking up and sleeping again, then nothing. Then all of a sudden, I was back in the stadium again. The exact same words came out of the principal's mouth. My friend wanted to go get Sonic, but I was freaking out. I was asking him everything. Come here, doggy. Come here. I thought it had to be a dream, so I went with him just to see what would happen. He dropped his stuff and waited. To my horror, that same red Tahoe showed up. I told him that I'm going back to school. I ain't dying again. I can still see the other version of me on that street, just messed up, not even moving. Wow, somebody said, holy shit, I'm so glad. I'm glad I scrolled this far. This is incredible. Yeah, this is like some of the glitch stuff that we talked about last week, like with the guy with the lamp. Yeah, I believe it happens, but what's interesting to me is like switching back and forth. Like it feels like if you switch once, maybe you wouldn't remember it. But that's the patchwork universe theory, right? That you can accidentally just like go into another one, and like if consciousness never dies, right? Maybe you just go into an alternate reality. Imagine that happening though. That must be so unnerving. Yeah, Graham, you try not to sleep with your phone nearby. Tiny apartment is full of Wi-Fi signal. I want to make a Faraday cage. I kept telling my fiance, I'm like, we could do it. He's very like good with building things, and he's very hands-on. So I'm like, please, can we build a Faraday cage, like a little one? That would be so cool. That would definitely make a cool video. I should start doing stuff like that, like the Dicyanin dye. I'll wear my cape and my Dicyanin glasses and sit inside my Faraday cage, and I'll live stream from there. The infinite universe theory, not specifically, but yes, quantum immortality. We talked about that last week. Okay, I was on vacation on Florida visiting a friend, and we were walking on the beach on a perfectly sunny day when everything went black for a second. I think it was weird, but I think it was weird, but explained it away, thinking that my eyes were playing tricks on me until he looked at me and said, did everything go black for a second? Whoa, the gods were quick saving the simulation. That's funny. The sun was on the fritz, don't worry about it. I think that a lot with the clouds. Like, the clouds look so different now than they did when I was a kid, and I'm always like, good job, simulation. You made the clouds really interesting today. Really, really pretty today. Good job. Good job, programmers. Imagine that though, walking down the beach and it just goes black. No, thank you. One day, when I was about 8, I didn't go to school because I was sick. My friend was supposed to bring me my homework, but never came. My granddad came home from work and told me that the friend was dead. Oh my God. Jeez. I was devastated. That night, I had a dream. I was with my friend at a playground next to our school, and we were talking, and he told me that he's safe, and it didn't hurt when the car hit him. Oh my God. The next day, my mother wanted to talk to me about the situation and asked if I wanted to know what happened. I told her that I know everything because my friend told me. She thought that my granddad told me, but he did not. He said that he did not wanted to tell me without her knowing. That night, I had a dream again, and I was talking to him again. We were playing and having fun, and he told me he really had to go and won't see each other ever again. The next day was his funeral, and I really haven't had a dream about him ever since. Wow, geez, that gave me goosebumps. Yep, me too. Energy never dies, it just changes form. Yep. When I played baseball as a kid, they were handing out trophies at the end of the season. They called out the names of the kids while we received our trophies. There happened to be a kid with the same name as me. We met after the ceremony because it was weird since our last name wasn't a very common one. We had the same birthday and everything. We looked alike. Both our dads were named Derek and both of our sisters were named Lily. As a kid, I found it cool. As an adult, I find it cool and also disturbing. Wow. That reminds me of Brady Feekles is you know them too? They're like baseball players. I wonder if this is because he's a baseball player. And they look exactly alike too, and they have the same name, but they are not related. I actually don't think they look that much alike. They just have the same coloring, but their faces aren't. Like, you could definitely tell them apart. There's a podcast called Radiolab. They did an episode on coincidence that has a similar story about a girl in England that releases a balloon with her name and address on it. It floats some hundreds of miles and lands in a guy's yard whose neighbor is the same age with the same name and a bunch of similarities. Whoa, that is so cool. Rhett and Link talked about that. Coincidences are just the way universe settles pent-up luck. Huh. Okay. No, you did not, Joel. Joel went through a 15-minute time loop, watching and chatting on a live stream, and 6 or 7 clips repeated in order, and my 15 minutes of chat live disappeared. I still haven't worked it out. Creepy. Something shifted. This summer, I bought my girlfriend a last-minute birthday trip to go kayaking around the San Juan Islands off Washington State coast. After a long drive and ferry trip, we found the tour group of about 20 people and then were shuffled into a van for a ride to the beach. Now, my girlfriend has a unique name similar to the name of a famous painter. Let's say it's Rebecca Warhol just for fun, but it's not. She's a little ray of sunshine and started chatting with the middle-aged woman sitting next to her on the shuttle as we waited to leave. The woman noted that she'd always loved the name Rebecca as it was her mother's name. They made pleasant small talk in the van until the tour guide passed around the sign-in sheet for all of us to fill out, and that's when things got strange. My girlfriend wrote her full name on the sheet and passed it to the woman, who immediately shouted, "Oh my God," and started crying. After a few minutes of total confusion, she told us Rebecca Warhol was my mother's full name, and these islands were her favorite place in the world. She passed away this summer from cancer, and we've traveled hundreds of miles to spread her ashes here. Whoa. We were stunned. I literally picked a random date time and tour company, and then we were split into the same group as this woman, and my girlfriend was sitting right next to her on the shuttle. What the hell? She continued by saying, "My daughter told us that Nana Rebecca would be with us on this trip, and we didn't believe it until now. It was the most unbelievable coincidence that we've ever experienced, and has totally convinced me that there's more to this world than we think." And my brother later said the universe winked at us that day. Oh, wow. Excuse me. Carolyn, are you still here? I feel like you would love that story. I don't know why. Okay, this one's got 15,000 likes, so this is going to be a good one. Hold on. I love choking on air. Nothing. Carl Yoon. That's my man. Yeah, that one is wild, huh? Okay. I shared this a few years ago when this question was asked last time, but I didn't really realize how glitchy in the matrix it was until people started commenting. In college, I took a hard news, soft news journalism class where one of the assignments was to write an obituary for one of my grandparents. The professor told us to write it on a deceased grandparent, but if all of your grandparents were still alive, we had to choose one. And in my case, all of my grandparents were alive. I procrastinated actually doing the assignment until the night before it was due because it seemed like a morbid assignment, especially once all of my grandparents were still alive. Scramming for an easy grandparent to write about, I gave my mom a call and asked her for some basic biographical information about my maternal grandfather. As we were talking about my grandpa's career, my mom couldn't recall the name of one of the companies he worked at. She lectured me about waiting until the last minute to write the assignment because it was late, 10:30 p.m., my grandpa's time. However, she said she would give him a call to see if he was still awake to be able to answer that question once my assignment was due the following morning. When my mom called my grandpa answered the phone in a panic. When my mom called my grandpa, my grandma answered the phone in a panic. My grandma frantically explained that the paramedics had just arrived and were performing CPR on my grandpa because he had stopped breathing and lost consciousness. My mom was able to stay on the phone with my grandma until they took my grandpa to the hospital, where he was declared dead. And the time my mom and I had been talking on the phone about my grandpa's obituary, he was dying. His death was entirely unexpected at that. Although he was in his 80s, he was the healthiest of my grandparents at the time. We ended up using the obituary I wrote for that assignment as his actual obituary. It still freaks me out thinking about the timing. There's times where I feel like I'm coming back into my body like a wave, but heavy. Interesting, yeah. Joel says, very creepy. All I could think about was The Matrix. It happens when they change something. I ran inside to check if my kids still existed. Alright, we'll do a couple more. I've been saying that for like a half hour, but... Okay, reminds me a bit of this time when I was a kid. I had this little joke novelty thing I'd gotten at a magic shop while on vacation. It was actually so long ago, I forget exactly what the thing was supposed to resemble, but it was something you were supposed to open, and it had this plastic thing inside, suspended on a rubber band. You were supposed to wind this thing up and close it, hand it to your friend, they crossed out victim, sucker, and open it, and it releases the tension, allowing the plastic thing to spin around, rattling loudly against the plastic case and vibrating in their hand, scaring the shit out of them. Anyway, I got all my relatives with this thing because I was a funny little 10-year-old shit. My great uncle and aunt were visiting and staying at my grandparents' house, and I had the thought to try this trick on my great aunt, but something stopped me. I didn't feel right. I very clearly had the thought, I don't want to give her a heart attack, no idea why. She was older, but so were my grandparents, who I already tricked. Well, very shortly after they returned home, I got news that my great aunt had a heart attack and passed away. Seemed like a spooky coincidence, but that one stuck with me. Yeah. I know I have one of these, but I can't remember what it is at the moment. Like strange coincidences. 2 years ago, I went to collect my husband from the ferry after work. My husband got in the car, and as I was driving very slowly out of the car park, we both noticed two people standing a few meters in front of our car. It looked as though they were strangers, older-looking professionals, both walking to their separate cars in different areas of the car park. The man was reaching into his side bag, and the lady was further ahead than the man, with her head turned to the right. I know the exact positions they were in because they were completely frozen on the spot. My husband and I sat there watching the frozen strangers, not saying anything to each other, and then all of a sudden it was like someone pressed play, and they started continuing on like nothing had happened. My husband and I promised to each other that we would never forget how weird the experience was. I can't remember exactly how long they stayed frozen like that, but it was long enough to freak us out. Weird. Okay, one more, alright? Because this one's got 23,000 likes, so maybe it's a good one. 1985. My ex-wife and I were sleeping. There was a small sliver of light coming through the window from a streetlight, so the room and bed were dimly visible. Our black Pomeranian was at the end of the bed asleep. I dreamt that I woke up, reached down to pet him, and he turned into a glossy black bivalve oyster thing, which opened up to reveal rows of gleaming glass teeth. I woke up to my ex backpedaling up over the bed toward the wall. I asked, "What's wrong?" She said, "What is that shiny black clam thing with the teeth at the end of the bed? Where is the dog?" We had the same nightmare at the same time. It still gives me a chill. Somebody said, "Sorry that your dog was haunted." This is actually a requirement for Pomeranians. One time when I was a kid, I had a sleepover with my friend, and we had the same exact dream. The end. It wasn't a scary one. It was just a regular dream. But, alright guys, I think I'm going to end it here, because my lips are dry and driving me crazy, and I'm very tired, and yeah, so thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Grimm's Kitty, for being my mod. I appreciate you. And thank you for being members, guys. So I will see you maybe next week. Maybe next week we do this again. So, all right. Okay, bye.